Hey guys, it's Joey here from the Music These Days. Happy to be here with Holly Brewer from Humanwine. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. We was talking earlier. How are you? How are you dealing with this quarantine stuff?
It's easy for me because if I'm not on the road, I'm usually in my little nest, recording happily nesting.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of your quarantine videos, and they're awesome.
They're kind of just ridiculous moments.
Right. And talking about Humanwine, you
hmm
started at what, 2002?
okay, so in 2001, I came back from Oakland, from living in Oakland for a really long time, and I came back to a farmhouse in New Hampshire where a bunch of my friends were hanging out, and they were like, they're all metalheads, and they were like, why don't we just you play all these songs on your guitar, blah blah blah. Why don't we just make a band around you and make it louder and support that? And I was like, okay, that's a great idea. Like, let's do that. And so, like, all my like kind of folky, fairy, witchy songs just got like the metal treatment, and it was really fun. Um, and then a bunch of us went up to Canada to record, and I was trying to figure out a name for the band, and I was like, oh, Veil Between the Realm of the Living and the Dead, which is a really long name. And I was like, oh, we could just shorten it to Veil. And then while we were up in Canada recording, the internet was kind of just brand new. And so like I searched Veil, and it was like bridal veils, tales of Middle Eastern women in their veils. And it was just everything. I was like, we're going to be buried. And the album was going to be called Va Dumas, which is just French for human wine. And I instead of trying to make people say vin du main, I was like, all right, fine. And I searched human wine, and not a fucking thing came up. So I was just like, fine, it'll be human wine.
Well, that's nice. And then, and what was it? Matthew Mc? Am I saying the name Matthew McNiss? Am
Uh
I saying
huh.
that right?
Yep.
So,
So when I first came back to the farmhouse, it was let's see, Gage on drums, and Tony on bass, and a guy named Mark playing hand drums, and a guy named Pete playing guitar, and fuck, who else? Man, there was a lot of fuckers. And then and then we were rehearsing, and Matt came over, and it was happened to be his birthday, and he was like, I'll do it, let's do it. And so he joined. And then I think I think when we started, like, that's when the moment when Matt became like my writing partner, where he he's very prolific. He was very prolific at coming up with things, and he would just riff, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I would just start singing over it. And then when we went up to Canada, it sort of thinned out quite a bit, and we started having this guy named Dre drumming with us, and Tony was playing bass, Matt was playing guitar, I was singing, playing guitar and piano and stuff. And then when we came back, we were like siphoning gas to go to Boston to like play on the street, and like people were stealing money out of our guitar cases. And that was super fun. And then when we moved to Boston, we met this guy named Nate, who ended up being like almost our forever drummer after that. He was playing with another band, and I was just like, hey, can you drum like a Viking? And he was like, I don't know, probably. And I was like, cool, let's do it. You can't have a hi-hat, let's go. And then and then and then we met Jeremy John Pilney, who was a piano player, and he fucking slayed. And he introduced us to this guy named Paul Dilly, who I've played with for years since, also, who plays upright bass and like arco bass and guitar. There's nothing he can't do. So at that point, I think it was just me and Matt on guitar, and then and then Paul Dilly on bass, and Nate Greenslit on drums, and that was us for a really long time. That was kind of like the core for a really long time. And then Nate was getting his PhD, and he had literally had like piles of children, and he couldn't tour. And so we had Brian on tour with us and recording one of the, I guess like maybe, I guess you could call it the second album, Fighting Naked. And then and at that point we were playing with this band called Reverend Glass Eye a lot, and then a band called Beat Circus a lot. And so we basically all just absorbed each other. Like I'd sing on their stuff and they'd play on my stuff, and it was just like very kind of like, you know, like where does the band end? Where does it begin? Like, you know, how many people are in all these bands? And then I just that was when I told Warner Brothers I couldn't be on their label anymore, because it was basically like the auntie who like knits you a giant hot pink onesie and is like, Merry Christmas. Like their intentions were really good, but they didn't get me, and that's okay. And then I was like too much everything and ran away to live in a school bus and dropped offline and stopped communicating with anything having to do with like a city, because I was losing it. I am a woods person, and I have to be in the woods. Yeah, so that's kind of like, that was from 2001 to 2009. We basically just covered.
Well, that's awesome. Like being a woods person, that's awesome. And you also you opened for Squirrel Nut Zippers, did you?
It's funny. So we played at a place called the Paradise in Boston. It's like a medium to bigger size venue there. And we sold it out twice, and they wrote to us and they said, hey, do you want to open for the Squirrel Nut Zippers? And I was like, it's weird when you've already sold a place out and you know you can, and then you're going to get paid like nothing to open for a band. But
Sure.
but it was worth it because they're awesome. And one of the things we used to do at our shows is we like unplug whatever we could, or rent people, our friends who played upright or just marching instruments, and we would and then let the song trail off, and we called it the army that isn't here to fight. And so the army that isn't here to fight would like march through the crowd singing the song, screaming, and then when they came back up to meet us, we'd all be screaming back. And halfway at the very end of our set, the kid in the Squirrel Nut Zippers, I can't remember his name, the singy guy, he was like, hey, do you care if we steal some of your folks to do a thing? Will you march around with us to do that too at the end? And we were like, yeah, totally, dude. And they ended up being really cool. They were really, really, really cool people.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of Squirrel Nut Zippers, and I'd seen that you had opened for them. I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
Well, it was a weird thing, because when I was living in, I don't even know, at the base of Mount Monadnock, when I was probably in 7th grade, their video came out for like In the Afterlife. And when I found out that they were like, hey, we want to play with you guys, I was like, you know, it was just a trip. It was a fucking trip to be like, I'm like 22. I'm not 14. Like, you guys have been slaying so hard for so long. Fuck yeah, let's do this. Who cares? You know?
Exactly, and they were based out of, I think, North Carolina.
Somewhere
Yeah,
like above Atlanta. I know they were from above Atlanta and below Boston.
yeah. I think it was North Carolina, and that's kind of the way you can describe your music. You can almost put it like a Squirrel Nut Zippers. It's like folky, it's old timey, it's vaudeville, it's it's all over, and then you get some punk, and like you said, some metal in there. It's like everything is the ingredients. Like, and what are some of your influences, like coming up with stuff like this?
I guess like in order, my musical influences are The Sound of Music. Was like the first. Well, Chariots of Fire was my first song that I liked, and then the whole soundtrack for Sound of Music, I grew up with hearing that. And then I guess, well, I wasn't allowed to have a TV, so I didn't have um that. Like, so I didn't have like TV influence, and I wasn't allowed to have like tapes or records or
Wow.
like just so so you'd hear like the radio in the car and stuff, and I liked Cyndi Lauper when that came on. I liked I guess I liked Cyndi Lauper, and remember that song "What Is Love, Baby Don't Hurt Me." I loved
Oh,
that
yeah.
song when it came out. And then I started taking a lot of acid, and my friends introduced me to Ministry and Skinny Puppy, and then I was just like, oh my heavens, it's dark, it's light, it's magic, I'm so excited, I love this. And then I started going to like rainbow gatherings and hanging out at like punk rock fests, and as soon as I found Sepultura, the Roots time period, I was like, oh, my heart, my heart. Oh, you're so perfect. And then somebody showed me Dead Can Dance. And I was like, if Dead Can Dance and Enya and Sepultura made a band, I would never need to hear any other music on the planet. So
That makes
those are
sense.
my
That's kind of what you did.
those are my favorite bands for sure. Those are like
Yeah.
Enya, Dead Can Dance. Well, Enya, Lisa Gerard, not necessarily Dead Can Dance, because a lot of times when the guy gets up to sing, I'm like, I just think it's confusing. Why she's like an angel and he's like this logger, and it's just
Yeah.
weird. I don't get it.
So oftentimes we'll fall asleep to Enya. We just went up recently and seen Soulfly.
Yeah, yeah.
Max Cavalera for sure.
Miniaturize.
Windows Tree Squad.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's funny because I accidentally ended up learning Portuguese, so now I can understand him when he's singing in Portuguese.
Exactly. Yeah. Me and listen to your lighter music, I would have never thought that you'd have been like a Sepultura fan, but that's awesome though.
Oh, very much. Sepultura and Slayer are like my two favorite like S bands that start with S.
Right. Yeah, I was always. What about Anthrax? What do you think about Anthrax?
I don't mind it. It's kind of like for me, there's categories like when I was little, I would be like, that's boy music.
Right.
Like to me, like I was never angsty ever. I never went through a period where I was like, fuck you, mom, I wish you never had me. Like I just never even had that moment. And so like Anthrax and like Beastie Boys, I would count them as like angry or something. I don't know. They just seemed really angry. Like,
Right.
but now it's fine. But when I was the right age to like them, I liked Primus and Faith No
Yeah.
More.
Oh yeah. That's still
Kind
two
of
good bands there too.
funky,
Yeah.
kind of, hey, who cares? We're just crazy on acid, like that kind of. I love Frank Zappa a lot.
Zappa, Les Claypool, all good people.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't hate Anthrax. It just didn't sing to me like it
Yeah.
didn't hit that like like
I think when I liked Anthrax back in the day, I was just a skateboarding
you're
you
right.
know,
Yes, all my
Tony Hawk wannabe, and I'm skating around. I'm listening to Anthrax and Slayer and all these bands. But it's cool that that's part of your influence. Some of those bands, minus Anthrax. But
well, I mean, I didn't hate Anthrax's guts. I think like Crass, that band Crass, the songs where Eve Libertine was singing really, really hit home with me. Like really hit home with me. Like my body, my choice, my rights. Because when I was growing up, my body was not my body, and anything could be done, and I had no say. And when you grow up thinking that way, all of a sudden you're like 15, and you have this lady that's like, no, fuck the church, fuck this shit. Your body's fucking sacred. You're your own goddess. Like I was like, yes.
yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So all right. So talking about your own body, let's talk about your tattoos here.
Oh yeah. Okay. So like
Very distinguishing.
I know. I've had them forever. I was 16 when I did this, and I was 19 when I did this, and I think I was 21 when I did the sides, and I think I was 23 when I finished it.
Right. Yeah.
So
We were talking about knuckle tattoos earlier, and yeah, there you go. Boom, boom.
They don't say anything.
They don't say that. Mine says pump, pump.
Yeah, totally.
So, are you going to do any more live streaming? I mean, what's the chances of like seeing Humanwine do a live stream? Or
Well, the thing is about getting like all the people in separate houses to do stuff. I don't know about that, but like the last album Human Wine did was pretty much a 40 song electronic album. Like
right,
it's just like it's like there's an album for earth, an album for air, an album for water, and an album for fire. And it's very not acoustic. I think there's a guitar on it at some point. Like, you know what I mean? It's like not acoustic at all. But like and that's kind of the direction I'm kind of just going in anyway, is like I can't hire a orchestra. So, but I have one here that I
yeah,
can
yeah,
play.
you have a nice setup back there.
And then but my live streams that I'm doing are I can actually hook in like my mic and the sounds. And so when I finally do one, a real one again, it'll be like that. It won't be like in oh no, I did one already that was like that. That's right. But I don't announce them. I just sort of do them. But I want to actually announce one and make it real.
Yeah. So but that's awesome though, that you can just sit there during quarantine and do all this stuff, and you have a lot of solo albums too. Holly Brewer solo albums are awesome as well.
Well, those are brand new. Like, so last year in I don't know, May or June, I had no idea for an album, no idea for songs, and just like all of a sudden in 8 days I had like a full album written and recorded mostly. And I was like, oh. And so I was like, well, it's not really Human Wine sounding stuff, and it's not really Folks Below sounding stuff, which is another band that I hide behind the name of. And then and I was like, fuck it, I guess I'm just going to be myself, considering it was all personal stuff and I'd never done personal stuff before. My songs are very social, political, and they're like out there. It's not what's in here. And even if I'm trying to tackle an issue that's happening in here, my ego will always put it on a wider lens and be like, no, do I make it not about what it's about, because that's too real. And so this album, I was like, fuck it, took off all my clothes and was just like, blah. I'm like, I was like, my fans and my friends know me long enough that if I can't take a shit in front of them with the door open by now, then what the hell is the point? So that's basically what I did with the last
Yeah.
album.
You get to a point you're like, who gives a fuck? I've been there before, and it's tough to throw all your skeletons out the closet and be like, and especially when you got to sing them over and over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if you was to tour on that and that keeps coming up and you're like, oh shit, this is every night bring up the same stuff, and like you, I've done that before. I'm just like, I'm just gonna push shit out and like not do anything personal, because the more personal you get, the harder it is to repeat it.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's yeah, you're just at some point. And also like the fear that I would have of doing stuff like that too much is the fear of it becoming like I guess I'm just gonna say like married sex, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like this, and now we're gonna do this part, now we're gonna do this part, and like and then actually like extinguishing the flame that was ever there to begin with. It's a fine line between not letting the song take you over and then ignoring it and like making it beige.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm colorblind, so I don't even know what beige looks like.
It's like me,
Are you beige? Okay.
kind of beigey.
Beige. Yeah. Um, so what are you doing in the future? Like after all this pandemic's over, what are your plans?
Well, I have a feeling that the pandemic will actually end in 2022. So I guess that's a while. Between now and 2022, April 2022, what do I plan on doing? Well, my dream in life has always been to not tour.
The not
So
tour.
yeah, no, I love playing the music and sending it away and then working on something new immediately.
Right.
Like that's ideal for me. I usually play like 6 shows a year, 7. So, and I make sure that I'll make a movie with like a projection and make it a big thing. But uh, eating country kitchen and fucking sitting on a bus is like literally my worst nightmare. I don't even know if Country Kitchen's the name of that place, but it's a place that's like friendly.
Right.
And it's just like the yucky food and the yucky schedule and the no exercising and like the just it's not it's I'm if I'm in a road dog, because I am a road dog, but I don't want to work on the road.
Right.
Like I want to just go off and take fucking mushrooms and end up in the desert and not have a schedule.
And it's things like this about you that all of your fans want. That's why they want to see you out on the road. It's because they're like this girl is
She won't
like
leave her
you.
house.
Yeah, they're like these. This is the type of people that a lot of people relate to, and they're like, hey, but they want to see you out, which is a cliche because you're like, I don't want to be out, and it's like,
Yeah, I'd rather see them. I love seeing that's the moment. There's
right,
a moment that's like I usually do 3-hour sets, 2 to 3 hour sets. And so for like the whole first hour, I'm just getting my shit out. Like I'm just getting all loosened up. I'm stretching. And then for the last 2 hours, I'm in bliss. And as long as nothing takes me out of the dream, I'm happy. Like I can get taken out of the dream really easily. Like if I look at the audience and I recognize one person's face, it takes me out of the dream. So I sing a lot with my eyes closed. So I don't even know if I'm that fun to watch live.
it's fun to watch any videos y'all have done, live stuff. I've watched it all, and it is fun to watch. So, and you're saying 2022. Now, I'd seen a thing a while back, and they were saying that
Oh,
a lot of they probably won't do any live shows or concerts until fall of 2021. Is that what you've read?
I haven't read that, but it's a good idea because when a pandemic comes through the northern hemisphere, it like leaves us in our respiratory season is just ending now, and then it goes to populate the southern hemisphere, which it hasn't even kicked their ass yet. And then
Yeah.
when it comes back in our respiratory season again from October to like May, this coming one, that's typically been when pandemics have kicked ass, like when they go down and mutate and come back up again. So, yeah, I mean, if we're clear of it by August next year, it's probably because there'll be a vaccine. I'd be surprised if it lost steam that quickly.
Right.
I'm not happy about it, but my sister's an epidemiologist, so I'd like.
No, I hear you. And it's picking up steam and everybody, and they're saying doing the social distancing and all this stuff's going to last for at least another year.
Yeah, it would be wise because the thing is, if it doesn't have any food, it dies.
Right. Yeah.
But people like the life cycle of it seems to be like 4 to 6 weeks total. So if everybody just wasn't a brat and just was like, we could actually kill it in like 6 weeks.
Right.
But
it's tough to do.
Right.
Not everybody's out there gardening like you. And
well, the thing is, I get it. I'm punk rock. I don't want to be told what to do either. I fucking hate the government. I don't,
right.
but not everything's a huge conspiracy. Like everybody's always going to take advantage of a crisis. Little dickhead fucks in their business suits are going to figure out how to make more money off this situation. But as far as like the big conspiracy that it's all like some big plan, I think everybody just wants life to be a movie and be that interesting. I just honestly don't think life is that interesting. I think it's just time for a fucking pandemic. It's been 100 years. Well, it's been 50 years.
Yeah, and it's been a while, and it seems like when everybody's talking 5G towers and this and this and that, or sending out the coronavirus, and
that's the thing. Like Alex Jones he exists. He does exist, and I have friends who like get spun out by that kind of chaos. And I just personally, my body doesn't thrive on that vibration, that vibration like this.
Yeah.
Not one cell of my body feels like it's thriving when my vibration is like that. Not one cell of me feels like I am living my best life. So I really, what I do is, a long time ago I was like, I'm anti-war. And now like a few years ago I was like, no, I'm pro-peace.
Right.
Like, I'm not anti-war, I'm pro-peace. And so I'm kind of like a silver lining person, where like I'm not really anti anything anymore as much as I am pro something else. You know what I mean? And so like the Alex Jonesy, everyone's out to get us, white owl, fucking eyes wide shut shit, like Illuminati stuff. I mean, it's cool, but how can you fix it? How are you fixing it? By typing about it on Facebook in your bedroom? Or are you just taking up your mental bandwidth with fear?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. There's a lot of fear mongering going on, right now. And it's bad. And you go out and like if you just cough or sniffle in the grocery store, everybody's gonna look at you like, oh my God, you just killed me. And no, I didn't kill you. I've got allergies, I'm in I'm in Tennessee. I sniffle.
That is the thing. Well, like I guess finding a scapegoat is easier than finding a solution. And some people just don't want to, they don't have the right shoes to walk up that hill.
Exactly. Yeah, and you gotta have the right shoes to walk up that hill for sure. So are we gonna see some more live streams from you? I enjoy personally watching like your in your little studio and the things you do. Your videos were pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm gonna do probably like a 2-hour set pretty soon. It'll be like electronic-y stuff. When I say electronic though, like, the type of songs that come to me are like, it'll be like a full-on like Parisian song. We'll just be like, I'm in your head now. And I'll be like, oh my God, I have to figure it out. And like, it happens a lot. Like, I'll be like, oh, it's kind of Middle Eastern-y, kind of Spanish-y, kind of funky, kind of rapish. And like, so like, I think that the set is going to be, even though angsty songs are coming out of me right now, because I'm really fucking pissed off about some certain things, I'm focusing on trying to be a calming source for people. So, and for me. And so I'm working right now on this 20-minute long song that's broken up into 3 chunks. The first part is, it sounds so kooky to say a guided meditation, but it is. It's like a guided meditation part. And then there's another part that is just instrumental, no distraction of human sound. And then the third part of it is instrumental with idioglossia. So the words are nothing anybody could get distracted by, because it's nothing they already know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'll probably be debuting that. And then yeah, just relaxing, not sleepy, but like, people are really fragile, and mentally anyway. And this time period is very, very, very trying on every brain. And so the last thing I would want to be is some dickhead banging on a pan when they're like got a razor blade in their hand. You know what I mean? I'd rather just be like, I see you, I hear you. It's not forever. You're not alone. Let's just breathe and fucking work this out, and like have a good moment with a higher vibration of pushing love out there. That's probably what it'll be like.
Awesome. I look forward to that, and that'll be good. And I can't wait for your vibrations and your meditations. That'll be nice.
Totally.
So we're like, there may be people watching this is never even heard of you or Humanwine. Where can
I'm
they
sure
find you? Like
there's around 200 people on Earth who know I make music. So I have a
200.
feeling.
I doubt that.
Well, around 275. So yeah, like I have a feeling they don't know me.
Right. So where can they know you? Where can they find you?
Well, I made a website for my new stuff and it's just hollybrewer.org. Um, I like saying that because when you say .org, it sounds like
Yeah,
.org.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's hollybrewer.org, and then and from there, I have actually put in my entire discography.
Okay.
Yeah, of everything I ever do. Yeah, and on Faceplace, I'm Holly Brewer, and on InstaFace, I'm Holly Brewha.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had trouble finding you because it was tough to like actually message you to even get this going. So
Well, you know what's interesting is I have a small collection of stalkers that aren't awesome, and so I do have a planned elusiveness, unfortunately, that I have to
right.
do. Like I have to not say where I am until after I've left.
Right. Well, that's bad.
Eh. Yeah, I mean, part of me is like, I haven't practiced fighting in so long. Maybe I should, just like let them at it so I can practice my sparring skills. But at the same time, I just don't want to deal with like the vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when can we look for this live streaming?
What day is it? It's the 19th. I feel like before May 1, I should do it. So
Before.
yeah, before May 1, because May 1's one of my favorite holidays. It's
Right. So
I love Beltane, and
yeah.
and I love May Day. So I was thinking, yeah, because my setup's completely ready. I'm just being a douche.
Right. So
Well,
stop being
actually, gardening
May 1, Holly Brewer.
before May 1. Yeah.
Before May 1.
Yeah, because I don't know if I
Holly
should do it
Brewer.
on Beltane. Should I do it on Beltane? Only if I'm doing it in the backyard with a fire and we're having like incantations.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to do that. I watched a video of my friend the other day, and he did a live stream, and he was in the desert of Colorado with a fire pit and beautiful scenery behind him. And his name's Slack Eye Slim. Go check him out. But
What is it?
Slack Eye Slim.
Oh yeah, I saw your interview with Slackhouse Slim.
Yeah, he's a Western guy. But yeah, get you a good scenery background and
Well, the thing is,
get
I
you
don't have
started.
I don't have unlimited data, so I can't leave my Wi-Fi region for streaming. Well, I
Yeah.
can. It'll just be like $90.
Well, the background there is pretty good. So.
Well, yeah, this is my little forever den, y'all. So that's this is where I record the sound of, and then it all goes onto here, and then it goes into there, and then this picks up that. This is a video machine, and that's a video machine.
Right. And then it comes out to us, right?
Yeah, and then it's weird how Apple made their new like butt plug or whatever for the phone. Like it steals your audio,
Right.
like the you can either juice it up or audio. You can't really do it at the same time. But anybody who's trying to live stream this device, if you have an Apple thingy, it's got this, and then you can charge while you're out audioing, or you're audio inning, So that's
Yeah.
to come out of your mixer into your phone.
So you're charging while you're doing it.
Yes.
Nice. All right. So we're gonna wrap it up. Anything you want to tell these Holly Brewer fans out here today?
Well, I would say it's nice to meet you, because we probably don't know each other yet, and it's nice to meet you. And I think you're easy to talk to. You're very good at interviewing.
Thank you. I'm very new to it. I'm green, so as we was talking about earlier, but I love music, so
Yeah, and well, tell me a thing though. You drum and you play guitar and sing.
I do a lot of things. So I'm actually doing on my personal page. Next Sunday, I'm doing a Facebook Live. I'm going to do an acoustic thing. Tell me a Humanwine song I should play that I can play on acoustic guitar.
A Humanwine song that you can play on acoustic guitar.
Yeah, what would be an easy one?
Peak.
Peak. All
Peak.
right,
And it's
I'm
fun
on it.
because you get to be like, no, 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 no. You get to say
That's
no.
so funny. It's so funny you mentioned that because I couldn't remember the name of it. That is one of my favorite songs that you do.
Peak. Sweet.
Because of those vocals. I don't know that I can pull it off as well, but I'll try it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. What I love about it is a friend I was playing that. I wrote the song, played the song, whatever. And then a really close friend of mine had her daughter was listening to it and she was like, all right, you got to clean your room. You got to clean your room. And out of the blue, she's like, no, 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 no.
That's
She
awesome.
told me about it. I was like, yes.
It's good to hear stories like that. So now every time I listen to this song, I'm thinking about I'm not going to clean my house.
Totally. I won't do it. I won't do it.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, Peak. That's the one.
All right. Well, I'm
And
gonna jump off.
will I see an advert for your show on this Facebook page? Will it advert? Is that where you're going to live stream from?
No, it's gonna be on my personal page. I'll send you an invite.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not gonna be cool. There's gonna be, I'm working on some System of a Down songs, some Tina Turner, and all kinds of weird shit. So it's either gonna be good or it's gonna be horrible.
I
We'll
wish
see.
you know that song's "Private Dancer" by her.
Yeah, private
I
dance.
don't want to spoil anything, but I'm like, are
So
you going to do that?
I'm gonna do two Tina Turner songs now.
Well, because it's Quarantina
Private
Turner.
Dancer. What was the other one I was gonna do? What's Love Got to Do It With is the other one I was
Oh,
gonna
that's a good one. Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken?
do. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy.
The first meme that I made about this was a picture of her, and it just said Quarantina Turner. And sorry.
Yeah.
And then there was one that it was
Quarantina.
Then there was one that was Quarantina Faye.
Yeah, Tina Fey. Yeah, I think I've seen those. That was
I've ran
that
out of
was.
Tinas though. I
Yeah.
don't know any other Tina.
So now I have to do two Tina Turner songs, and that's it. Thank you.
No, you don't have to at all. But that's
I don't.
Tiny Dancer. Private Dancer.
Private Dancer, Tiny. No, that's Tony Danza.
Yeah, hold me close now, Tony Danza. Tony Danzig.
I mean, my legs are nice, but they're not Tina Turner nice.
No one's legs are Tina Turner nice besides her.
No, I can't insure for $1 million. I'll probably just be like this far up,
Yeah, I don't think any of us are wearing pants in our live streams. If you are, you're not doing it right.
No, I'm not doing pants at all.
Yeah, that's better.
Why should anybody wear pants?
Fuck pants.
Fuck pants. We can't go anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to sign off?
Yeah.
We get too long. Nobody will keep watching this.
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well, all right. Yeah. Have a really good day. See you in a minute.
Yep. No, yes.